there yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my yarn corner here on Vancouver Island in Canada. So welcome. Today is Thursday, October the 14th, 2021, and this is video number 124. So I'm sitting here super excited because it's the eve of my podcast anniversary, and Urban Yarn will be 2 tomorrow, it being October 15th, 2021. I can't believe 2 years have just flown by. So back in October of 2019, I did set this channel up on the 12th of October, and then I uploaded my first podcasts or my first videos on October 15th. So I'm sitting here right in the middle of those two dates. So I hope that you'll join in and celebrate with me with Urban Yarn being 2 years old on YouTube. Yeah, so I've got some things to showcase. I've got some whips, some FOs, and yeah, I am using some of my hand-dyed yarn as well, so we can talk about those things as well. And what else do I have for you? I have a little secret here, which I'll show in a little bit, but later down the way, I'll talk about what myself and my husband Chad have been up to in the new neighborhood. So I will put that towards the end of the video. So if you're not inclined to be interested in sticking around for just the chit chat stuff, then all of the yarny goodness will be up front in this video. So before I get going on my whips and my FOs, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joined me and supported the channel and have written such great comments, particularly in the last couple of videos where Chad and I were moving over to the new location. We used to live in Vancouver, the downtown core area, but now we've come into a smaller community here on Vancouver Island, and we absolutely love it. So setting up the yarn room has been amazing because now I have the space. I used to be crammed into, I think it was like maybe 700 square feet, and now we have a multi-story, like a 2-story townhouse, which is lovely. I've got this room to put all of my yarn, and I've made up some shelving, and I've gotten some great advice on organizing yarn from all you yarn lovers out there. So thank you so much for all the comments. We've had some interesting ways that I hadn't even thought of organizing yarn. So what we have in the mix of things have been by yarn weight, by yarn fiber, by color, and a combination of all of the above as well. I've had lovely stories about like people putting in their yarn wherever it can fit, and I must admit I'm kind of like of that genre as well. And also in totes or in tubs and zipped up bags that can store easily inside of a cupboard with labeling so that people know what's inside of each of the, I guess the tubs or the bags. When they're closed up, you can't really see what's in them. Some people have said that they prefer storing in clear plastic so that they can take a look to see from the outside what's happening on the inside of each tub, so that they don't have to, you know, rummage around and create a huge mess looking for something particular that they had in mind. So mine is, I'm going to say at this point in time, it's a little bit of a mix match of different things. So I'm using brand, like if it's lime brand or if it's hand dyed, as well as a combination of fiber. So I put my cotton in a certain area, and then I'll put my wool blends or my pure wool or my acrylic in other areas. I also do variegated and solids. So like if they kind of look like they work well together, I'll batch them into a cube together as well. So yeah, I think I'm kind of like taking bits and pieces out of all of the storage advice that people have left me in the last previous videos. So thank you for that. Yeah, so if you're brand new here, I just want to welcome you as well and introduce myself. I'm Gary, and I'm the host of Urban Yarn. If you are just happening across this channel for the very first time, why I've set this channel up is to talk about all my yarn crafts. So that's my knitting, crochet. I do dabble in a little bit of hand dyeing of yarn, but nothing on a huge scale. and acquisitions where I purchase my yarn from and my tools for my craft. So if there's any sales along the way, I want to flag them so that all of my fiber friends can make use of those. So let's kick into the podcast, shall we? I have some exciting makes that I've just finished. I want to talk about them, both knit and crochet. So here we have a cowl that I created, and I did one of these in a previous make that I finished, and it was busting through some stash and scrap yarn. So I did it again using latte and the Caron latte cake, and I used the Caron latte cake for the framing of these hexagons. It's a knitted, I guess not a pattern that I worked on, but it was in my stitch dictionary, and it's called the honeycomb stitch, I guess. And it's these hexagons that you knit up in a chosen yarn, and you can choose to do a different color background. And so this is the inside out of the honeycomb stitch, and I busted through probably, I'm going to say, around 10 grams of yarn for each of the stripes. And I went through a number of different nuggets that I had in my leftover stash. Super, super soft. And they were a combination of, well, Caron latte cakes is classified as a bulky 5. And then I paired it with some 4s, and there was some lighter 4s as well, almost 3 weight yarn. So I used 4mm knitting needles, and I used the 29-inch circular set of knitting needles that I have, and I used the Chargu bamboo variety. I have it down here. This is what they look like, and I'll just try it on for you so you can see how it wears and how it drapes. Oh, got latte on my nose. So here it is here. A really, really cool kind of pattern. I mean, you can choose any type of yarn, variegated, solid, to make the hexagon framework, and then in the background you could choose something that's variegated or use other bright scraps to create the background however vibrant you want it. And it's absolutely a lot of fun. So I did a 10 stitch hexagon, and I did 12 hexagons around. So I included, 120 stitches, and each of the bracketing was 3 stitches each and 7 for the actual hexagon opening. So it was a 10 stitch count all the way around. Really, really nice and fluffy. So that's kind of a fun make, a good way to bust through some stash. The next thing I want to talk about is another knitted pattern that I was working on, and you saw it almost done in the last whips showcasing that I did a couple videos back, and here it is here. It has the use of drop stitches. I absolutely had a lot of fun learning how to knit up this crescent shawl. It is a pattern by Hoku Locatelli, and it is the pattern name is called Storm, or the Storm Shawl. It's been blocked and it just drapes super, super nice. It's a 100 hank or 100 gram hank pattern. So really good if you have that one skein that you want to get rid of. And the weight of the yarn is a fingering weight, kind of like a heavier fingering weight, maybe slightly sport weight. But yeah, I'll show how it drapes. Just put it on. It's in this beautiful color, and I'll talk about the yarn as soon as I can show you just how lusciously like drapey this is. To show you how it looks. So yeah, I we'll show the pattern. It's a paid for pattern. I'll include the link down below in the description box. And again, it's the Storm pattern, and it is by Hoki Locatelli. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. And they are suggesting to use a 4.5mm set of knitting needles. I went, because I'm such a loose knitter, I went down a half size and I did my on a 4mm set of knitting needles. The same ones I did the cowl with the hexagons. So I used these ones here, 29-inch cable. And these are the bamboo chalgu needles. Really, really nice to work with. And the yarn I used was Louisa Harding in the collection called Pictura. That's it there. The colorway was Starry Night, an ode to Vincent van Gogh, the painter from the post-impressionist era. And it is, I will confirm, a 2 fine weight. So it is a sock weight yarn or a fingering weight yarn. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to wear it until I need to take it off to show something else. Next up are some finished washcloths that I crocheted up using Crystal over a Bag of Days tutorial 612, or it's called the Easy Crocheted Washcloth. And I absolutely loved the tutorial. I did it again and again and again. So I got some new to me cotton from Joanne. It's called the Big Twist cotton, and they were 55-gram mini balls of yarn. This one is in the colorway called Ocean Splash. And the thing that I did different from the tutorial was I went around in a reverse single crochet, which gave it a nice kind of like ropey finished border, and I put a toggle on the corner here so that I could dry off the dishcloth or washcloth once it was wet and used. So yeah, absolutely loved it. If you're looking to try a new stitch that you haven't tried before, the alpine stitch in this particular tutorial is amazing. I believe Crystal also called it the ripple stitch, and I just love the texture that it created. Absolutely stunning. And this is the back side of it, so it doesn't have the same kind of texture on the back side, but beautiful, beautiful make. I absolutely enjoyed learning the new stitch. So I have it done here in a different colorway using the Big Twist cotton, and this colorway is called Multi Rainbow. That's that one. I also did it in Premier's Home Cotton. I have a huge ball of this variegated kind of like, it's like crazy mesh of colors here. We've got white, citrusy green, as well as more of a teal bluish green color. I did a different border on this one. Really like that one, and I did 2 of those actually. So there's the second one and there's the first one there. So yeah, did those 2, and I also had some leftover cotton from Friendly Fish, I think it was called, Scrubby or Washcloths, and these were from Hirschner's. It was a kit, and I had a couple of the colors left over. I still have a few more as well that I want to bust through, but the green and the yellow ones are finished. And the Hirschner's yarn that was being used was called Village Yarn Craft Cotton, and all of these were 4-weight yarns, so worsted, and I used a Susan Bates 5mm crochet hook. I am sending these over to Rose from Rose Likes Crochet. Hi Rose. Don't know whether you guys are familiar with Rose, but if you haven't heard of Rose, she's an amazing content creator here on YouTube. I'm going to link her YouTube videos down below. And Rose lives in the Chicago area, and she's a crocheter and stitch maker. And she supports a charitable organization called Wings. Now, Wings requests different things for crafters to make and donate and send to, Rose is actually a conduit, and she's kind of like the go-between, and she delivers all these wonderful made crafts to Wings. And Wings is a support organization that aids people who have suffered from domestic violence. So amazing charitable donation. And this month, the month of October 2021, they're asking for washcloths and also kitchen scrubbies or kitchen dishcloths. So these are going to Rose. And if I can make any more before I've got to send this out, because we need to think about some time that it's going to get to Rose, and there's only 2 and a bit weeks left of October. So I'm going to have to stop somewhere and send this box off to Rose. The next finished item that I've got to show you is a knitted scarf, and it's a 2x2 ribbing, and it did, I think it was 38 stitches across. And I used a combination of all different yarns that I had in my stash. Some of them were scraps and some of them went through the whole piece. And just to give it that unified look, I absolutely loved how they speckled together and how they striped in some areas. Absolutely had a lot of fun with this, and it made this amazing squishy fabric. It's around, I'm going to say maybe 7 feet long, and with inch width, I think it's probably around, I'm going to say 6 inches in width. So quite a narrow scarf, not that thick, but the colors make a statement, and I absolutely love this. This is going to a friend who helped me with the move. So I have to send this off to say thank you so she can get use out of it now that the weather is turning and getting a little cooler here. So let's talk about what I used for this finished item. I used the 5.5 millimeter bamboo clovers. So those were the knitting needles I used. The yarn that I used for that wonderful speckly, stripy scarf, the main one that went through the whole thing was Premier Spun Color in the colorway Agate. It is classified as a medium 4-weight yarn, but it does rove. It goes from thick to thin. And what I liked about this yarn, because I did a swatch of this a while back and I found that the texture of the colors was a little too crazy for me. So what I wanted to make it a little bit more, I don't know, quieter in some regards. So I chose tonal and solid colors to introduce into the yarn and break it up every couple of rows. And that seemed to make the scarf a little bit more, I guess, subtle in the way. It wasn't so loud and changing through all of these quite contrasty colors. Like you've got almost there a deep purple and a charcoal gray all the way up to a beige. So we have a lot of different contrasting colors in there, and they do switch up after a couple of stitches. It changes into another color. So I might not have even gotten a full stripe through some of the color changes in such a narrow width. So what I wanted to do was break it up a little bit and make it a slightly quieter yarn and not so noisy. So what I chose to add in there was some hand-dyed yarn, and I chose this kind of salmony pink color, slightly coral, so it goes through some orangey pinks and rose colors. I really like this subtleness in this yarn. And this one here has, it's purple, but also brown at the same time, because I put chestnut brown in there as well as some purple. So I've used these two to break it up. And the last one I used was a purple and berry colored variegated yarn. So I put those three in. And one other color as well, which was, where is it? Somewhere on my, this one here. This gray here I used too. So I put these three, and that's Coffee Beans from Plymouth Yarns. These are all 4-weight yarns. And that broke up the color spun a little bit. So I knitted back and forth, switching up colors. And I did probably a 12 inches of each of these blocks and alternated throughout the piece. And it sort of settled the color down a little bit. As you can see here, that's where the gray section was with the spun colors from Premier. And then we go to the rose gold area here. And I broke it up every 4th row. And then there's the berry colors. I broke it up every 4th row. And the gray I chose every 2nd row. So I changed out every 2nd row with the gray and got deeper stripes in the colors. Yeah. So really happy with how that turned out. And I have enough here to do some other things to bust through the stash. And I'm thinking of doing a bush tracker beanie with these colors because I really like the colors. The next thing I've got is a crocheted finished item. And this is my first ever amigurumi. And it is so cute. So this was a tutorial that I followed from a YouTuber out there, and it is from Anna Crochet. I will link the tutorial down below, and it's called the Christmas ornament, I believe. So check it out. It's a little reindeer. I love him so much. Yeah, he's got, I don't know whether you know, jean jackets use these stud kind of buttons. So I used some jean jacket or denim jacket stud buttons for his eyes. And the yarn that I used was a creamy yarn, which came in a mystery bag or a mystery box. And this is it up here. It's in this kind of camel color, I think off tan color. And I believe it's got some cotton in it because it came out and felt like cotton when I had it, when I was crocheting it. So it did hurt my hands because I was using a small hook. So this yarn is classified a 4-weight yarn, and I was using a 3.5mm crochet hook, this one here. And it did split a bit because the yarn itself was made up out of plied thread, cotton thread, and it wasn't well twisted. It was kind of hard to get all of the strands together to make a clean stitch. But I managed, and the top part here, his antlers, were done in some scrap yarn from Hobium. I had some cookie left over in the color mustard and used it for his nose as well. And his his nose tip. And this gray color here was Cotton Angel Cake from Caron. So really had a lot of fun making him up and stitching him. So yeah, he's a little Christmas decoration or Christmas ornament. The next thing I have to showcase is a work in progress, because I've done all of my finished works. And this work in progress is a crocheted shawl. And I am working it top down, and it's a triangular shaped shawl. And here it is here. this is what I've done so far. So the length of the shawl is, the top part is, I'm going to say 7 feet long. And I'm doing some color work in it as well. And it tapers, so this is the one corner, and it tapers down to, and it will go to the point. And it's going to be quite a large shawl. The pattern requests to use over 2,000 yards of fingering weight yarn. So I'm using a combination of sport weight and 3 weight. So I'm kind of, that's why it's getting a little bit bigger, because I'm already starting off with a larger yarn. But this is the pattern that I'm following. It is from Noro magazine, and it's called the Rose Matrix Shawl. Now it's black and white, so you can't see it, but it's kind of got a mesh matrix, and then in these parts here, they're solids. And the color version of this one, they are very, very close in color. So the tone is very much like a soft, it's not that contrasty, it's quite a soft change. But I'm doing mine with variegated, as well as some solid colors and some speckly yarn. It's difficult sometimes to read the chart, and sometimes there's some frogging back because you need to carry the main yarn across all of the color bars, and sometimes I forget to do that, so I have to go back and pick up the main color and carry it across. So I really am learning a lot of technique when it comes to carrying yarn across a flat surface. Normally I can carry the yarn up the side of the garment that I'm making, or the fabric, but going across, it's kind of like a different set of movements for me. So sometimes I forget to carry the yarn, and other times it gets tangled up when I'm crocheting with the new introduced color. So I'm enjoying it and finding it frustrating at the same time. So the yarn that I'm using for that one is a combination of different yarns. I have this for my border color. It's the Yarn Bee Chloe in the colorway Arctic Spruce. Really, really lovely colors there. And this is a 3 weight yarn, or a DK weight yarn. And the little spots of color that I've put in here are this yellow color from Gazelle Yarn. Boogie is the collection. And I got this from Hobie, I'm sorry. And then I was gifted some wonderful yarn from Kim at Affordably Crafty. And this is the main color that I'm using. It's the Sheep Cheese Our Tribe. And this one, I believe, is the fingering weight yarn, or the sock weight yarn. And this one is quite difficult to frog back because I'm using a very tight stitch so that I can get definition on all the little matrix perforations. So I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook for the shawl. And when I do need a frog back, this one catches on itself. So maybe not the best choice of the background color or the main color for this project, but I am managing to get through, and I really like the gradient that it creates as the background for all of these fun colors to pop on. The other one that I'm using is the other ball of Louisa Harding yarn, and this one is the Pictora in the Frida Kahlo colorway. I absolutely love this yarn too. So that's creating some of the stripes throughout the garment as well. So that concludes what I've been up to crafting. So that's all my FOs and all my whips that I'm going to be chatting about. So if you need to cut out of here, and get on with your day. I do appreciate you coming by and you know, staying this long and watching me talk about my makes. And I want to say thank you again for being a supporter of the channel and celebrating my 2nd year of Urban Yarn here on YouTube. So I got to tell you about what I've been up to in the last 2 or so weeks with my hubby Chad, exploring the new community that we've been in. You might have seen or remember in the opening scene that the intro was of pumpkins in a pumpkin patch. So we went to a farmer's market here with my in-laws or Chad's parents to a farmer's market who was selling root vegetables predominantly. So there were onions, there were carrots, there were turnips, potatoes, and they were selling them by large quantities to put in your cellar to last you for the whole of the winter or the season. So we went and we bought some onions and some carrots and some potatoes and a whole big bag of them, and keeping them somewhere cool for the winter period. And they were so good quality, super fresh, and reasonable price as well. And we knew that they were directly from the farms that we were visiting, so it was nice and local, supporting our local farmers here on Vancouver Island. And the pumpkins were so cute. So we picked up a few of the pumpkins and the gourds, and we have them around the house decorated now, and we're getting really excited about the fall season, and Halloween's coming up. So us being in a new place, we're looking forward to handing out candy. So we've bought all this candy and are waiting for the kids to come by on Halloween so we can give them out. Missing out on all of that, being downtown in a taller apartment building, you don't get to do any of the Halloween candy handouts. So we're really looking forward to that. The other thing is that we went to a different farmer's market, which was more of in an open field, and many vendors were selling their wares from the local area. So we had, you know, bakers, we had alcohol brewers, and different crafts that were there as well. So it was a lot of fun. And if I remember, I'll add a clip to the end of that field area where you can that we explored 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and it was a nice sunny day. So, you know, can't go wrong there. Also, us here in Canada, we did celebrate our Canadian Thanksgiving, and it wasn't sure what we were doing until the very last minute, and we were invited over to my in-laws, Chad's parents' place, to have the Thanksgiving dinner on the Sunday evening, and we had a lovely time with them. We played a few games. If you don't know that already about me and Chad, we love board games. I think we counted around 45 games that we have, and that's card games, board games, all that sort of, you know, fun shenanigans. So we played a game called Azul, and it's a Portuguese inspired game where little beautiful mosaic tiles are used, and we have 3 of the versions, so version 1, 2, and 3 of that game. So we played the 3rd one, and it was a lot of fun. And we played Crib, which is, I believe it might be Canadian as well. It's a card game uses a board, and you peg as you're counting your points. So we had a lot of fun playing Crib. I think that catches you up on everything. So now we have to go to the box and check out what's going on in there. As always, well, now it's become a little tradition because I've done it twice now, is that I've bought a birthday cake for us here at Urban Yarn. Last year was a pumpkin inspired cake, and this year I have a chocolate truffle cake. Happy 2nd year Urban Yarn. So this is what me and my husband Chad are gonna hoe into tonight. And I just want to say thank you to everyone again for helping me throughout this whole journey and supporting me while we celebrate our second year here on YouTube. So yay! Thanks a lot, guys. And with that, I think that ends the podcast, and I just want to wish everyone a safe week. And until we meet next time, look after each other, and I will catch you in the next podcast. Bye for now. Hey there, yarn lovers. Just soaking up my shawl from Yohi Lokitali's pattern called Storm, and I'm using Louisa Harding's Pictora yarn, and it is in the colorway Starry Night, and I'm just showing the bleed off of the blue color in the water. So good idea to maybe hand wash this separately so that it doesn't stain or bleed into another garment.